My tracker's beeping, so this must be the place. Don't worry. You've got this. Hello, I'm sorry to disturb you, but is this 123 MacGuffin Lane? I see. And by any chance, would you happen to be the owner? I see. Very well. Is there any chance I might come inside? There's something important the two of us need to discuss. Oh, my apologies. I should have explained earlier. I am a law enforcement officer. Here's my badge in case you need evidence. Yes. It's a special division, hence the initials. Their meaning's classified, sorry. At least for now. Oh, no. You're not under arrest. Nothing to worry about. I just need to ask you a few questions. Well, yes, you absolutely have every right to refuse. However, by doing so, it does suggest that something is wrong and that my involvement is a necessity rather than a precaution. If you do refuse, I'll have to go and get a warrant. And I'm sure I'm not going to have to do that. Am I? Thank you. Glad you could be reasoned with. Oh, it's a lovely home you have here. Very quaint. No, I don't own anything like this. Nothing like this. It's a bit out of my price range. Really lovely place, though. I was wondering if we might conduct our interview in the living room here? And it certainly is a very nice living room. Did you decorate it yourself? I like the colors. Really meshes well together. Oh no, I don't need a drink or anything. Thank you for offering, though. Please, take a seat. Yes, I did mention in interview. In truth, this is more than just a few questions. Like I said, poor phrasing on my part, really. This is more of a test to determine who you are, in a sense. Oh, it's all completely official, I assure you. And again, you do have the right to refuse, but doing so will just mean that I'll be back later, so it's best to get it out of the way. Now, enough pussyfooting around. Let's get on with this. Pussyfooting. Why did I just say that? Now, I just need to fill in some details first. Could you tell me your name? Thank you. I'll just make a note of that. Occupation? Thank you. Age? Wonderful. There's just some other details, but I'll be able to fill them in as we go. Now, are you comfortable? Not nervous or anything? If you are, I find it helps to take a deep breath, like this. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. Now with me. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. Very good. It's important that you're relaxed while we do this. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Now, the questions start. Could you tell me something about yourself? A memory, for instance. Oh, it can be anything, really. Childhood, recent, adulthood, whatever. You went shopping last week? Oh, that's a surprise. What did you get? Oh, that's nice. Let me make a note of that. Subject recalls events from previous week. All right. How about we go back a bit further, though? Can you tell me something from your childhood, perhaps? Anything at all. Doesn't matter. Just something. No? Nothing comes to mind? Interesting. Okay. What about your outside life? Your relatives or anything? What are your mom and dad's names? I see. The person in charge did not put a lot of effort into you. Oh, nothing. Nothing that concerns you anyway. Well, I have to say, I think the rest of these questions are redundant. In all my years, I have never encountered a suspect who was so obviously a protagonist. And a lazily written one at that. What am I talking about? Do you not think it's a bit strange that you don't recall your birth parents' names? Or anything from your childhood? Tell me, what's the oldest memory you can remember? Last week, again? What happened last week, my friend? You woke up, okay. Then stared at yourself in the mirror for a moment. How original. Yep. Definitely a protagonist. That alone would have been enough if you'd said that first. Let me guess. You feel like you're missing something, don't you? Like you have some greater purpose you haven't fulfilled yet, but it's just out there, on the horizon. Am I right? Yep. I think I have what I need. No, don't get up. This'll just take a moment. Ahem. Protagonist Police, put your hands in the air. Don't move. Stay still. You're not going anywhere. Now, by my authority as a member of the Protagonist Defense Police Agency, I am placing you under arrest under suspicion of violating Code 1, the most important code of all, being a protagonist. Stand up, turn around. There. Are they too tight? Good. Do you have any idea the damage you could have done if left unchecked? It's a good thing we noticed the warning signs. It could have been catastrophic. An active protagonist for a week. It could already be too late. You don't know what a protagonist is? Really? I'm sorry, it just seems unlikely. They're basically the main character of a story. The narrative revolves around them, essentially. Almost every story has one. And that's the problem. We don't want a narrative. We don't want a story. At least, not a dangerous one. I'm going to bring you to the station, do some research to find out what kind of protagonist you are, and figure out what sort of plot you belong to. You're probably not a fantasy protagonist. Our world doesn't reflect that. Although, I suppose a portal fantasy could work. Though, those shouldn't be too dangerous since they primarily take place in an alternate world. Oh, there's different danger levels depending on the genre. For example, you could belong to some sci-fi genre like an alien invasion or a disaster movie. Do you have any idea how difficult it would be to contain a disaster movie narrative? It'd be a nightmare. I'm sure I don't need to tell you. You're still not getting it. Do you have any idea how crazy plots are nowadays? Writers have really jumped the shark on how destructive things can get. Every time someone writes a story somewhere out there in the vast infinitude of the multiverse, it becomes real. Which means every bad thing that happens in those stories also becomes real. And we don't want that in our universe, for obvious reasons. We like our world mundane. We like our world quiet. So, every time we get an inkling that a story is about to start, we find the protagonist and stop them from protagging, so to speak. We can't have them being active and getting the story rolling. Depending on the story, literally everyone can die. But if you don't have a protagonist experiencing the narrative, the story can't get rolling. It doesn't have any legs. It fizzles out before it even begins. So, that's why I'm arresting you. Oh yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff. The sort of stories people think of. It's insane. God, don't get me started on the number of apocalypse storylines. We've had to contain half a dozen of them this week alone. Zombies, meteors, earthquakes. People really love writing them. It drives me insane. I was very close with you. I mean, you've been active for a week. Yikes. Could have really gotten nasty. Must have been a slow burn kind of thing. Or maybe the writer couldn't decide how to open the narrative properly. They must be inexperienced if they're having you look into a mirror. It's such a cliché way to open a story. I mean, you going to the shop seems to have been the key detail. Did anything else happen? Did you run into someone that you clicked with? Maybe you're a romance protagonist. That wouldn't be so bad. Not worth the risk of letting you go, but it's not a terrible option. I mean, they could just be your love interest for a different kind of movie. It's really not worth risking. Nothing else happened? Really? Having a scene with no purpose is a really big writing sin. But there must have been something in it. Have I got the right person? I must have. Let me just check my tracker again, make sure everything's right. What do I think? Well, based on how I have to keep responding in a certain way to intuit what you're saying, I think we're in some kind of one-way communication thing. You know, like a script for an ASMR video or something. Not the highest calling, being the protagonist of an ASMR script, I'll admit, but hey, maybe it's NSFW or something. That could have been fun. What's... My tracker, it led me here to your house. It locks on to protagonist energies, but It should have stopped beeping as soon as I snapped the cuffs on you. Why is it still beeping? And it's beeping like the protagonist is right here. Oh. Oh no. The tracker, what it's saying is it's me. I'm the protagonist. Oh. Oh, it all makes sense now. As soon as I arrived at the house, the story started. Someone got the idea to write an ASMR script about us, about the Protagonist Police, and I'm the protagonist of the story. This has never happened before. Never. It's completely unforeseen. I can't even... What about you? Well, I guess you must have been a side character or something. That explains why your personality, your backstory, it's all underbaked. We must have an extremely lazy scriptwriter or something, and that stuff with the store... just a lazy way to mislead the audience, but why write a script about this? There's no way to conclude it. I mean, a tale of this scope, it can't fit into a single script under 2,000 words. And I doubt it's going to end up being a series. I mean, who'd want to write a series about this? Yes, of course I'm worried. I'm worried because what's the writer going to do? Everything that's happened, it's preordained, and it's up to them. Even what I'm saying now, we have no way of knowing what's going to happen next. Especially since there's no satisfying way to end this in the time that's been given. Unless... Oh no. What? Why are you looking at me like that all of a sudden? Oh my God. Oh my God. It is an NSFW script. No. Hey, you cupcakes. I loved that script. I simp so hard for GoldenProxyy. It's not funny. I would totally do a spicy script by GoldenProxyy in a heartbeat. I have long said that the price of my virtue is a good punchline or a good extension of a story. And I would have every faith in GoldenProxyy. Not that I'm pressuring, actually I shouldn't say that because that could seem like pressuring or pushing or what have you. And nobody should ever do anything that they're not comfortable with. But also in a heartbeat, I would do that recording. And speaking of spicy scripts, I got one coming up soon in my Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, I'd like to thank and welcome my new patrons. We've got Jay Phillips, Ghost Fox, and Sam Welsh. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate having you with us. And moving on to the daily reading of the aliases, gang is now known as gang in binary, not in binary. It was written out, not in binary. He's getting meta with us, kind of like this script was today. Lion in Winter is now known as Take My Hand Off to Never Neverland. I love that one. That one's nice. I like that one. Quasi Crafter. If the gentlemen's boxing clubs have all vanished mysteriously in the past 3 years, I apologize. The ever-flattering Duke is now known as Duke is having the best time building. Dreamy's audios really do make everything better. Honey, your name changes make everything better. Forces is quietly listening, silently dreaming. Art has changed his name to a bunch of words that I do not know how to translate. Me dieron un portapapeles. Ahora puedo organizar y ubicar mejor los incendios. Well, I know he's talking about fires again. He's always talking about fires. But I'm also not doing this sentence justice because he's got exclamation points there, so he's very excited about something. Hang on, let me look this up. Let me copy and paste instead of, whoops. Oh, they gave me a clipboard. How I can organize and place fires better. Oh dear. Yeah, we gave him a clipboard because he is actually very organized. Art is the person in the server who keeps us on track when we're playing games, when we're being silly, when we've got a task to achieve. He's keeping us on target. So Art is now the chairman. He's the chair of the board of directors of nonsense. Okay, Bellamy is now known as the sex mercenary is in big trouble. My unit was pinned down, ambushed from behind, and betrayed from within. I don't think I will Captain Kiloa has changed his name to What Do I Care How Much It May Storm? I've got you and your stories to keep me warm. Thank you, Cap. Oh, wow. Jack is, how do I say I miss you in a way that will make your heart ache as mine? And oh my goodness, Hunter is now known as, with the current population, you are 1 in 7.9 billion. Think of how special you must be. I love that. You guys all make me so friggin' happy. My God. And of course, other people who make me very happy, the bakers and pound cake patrons, the ones that I haven't mentioned yet, Inline Flaws, Mr. Rickles, Anand, The Difficult Daily, The Impossible by Appointment, and Dreamies on Demand. The Dark Moon, Goose, In a Sea of 1,000 Stars, You'll Always Be the One to Light My Way. Kahlua Bear, Why is Dreamy so obsessed with the llama? Cody, The Evening Star, and the friends we made along the way. Thank you all very much. I hope all of you will be as good to yourselves as you are to me, and I will talk to you tomorrow.